So this video is Minecraft updates you didn't realize were coming. What updates could I not realize are coming? What?
Minecraft updates can be surprisingly unpredictable. New features often come out of nowhere and can feel almost arbitrary at first, but in reality, they're usually not as random as they might seem. A good example of this is the domestication of the ghast in the form of the happy ghast. It might have felt like a strange addition, but it arrived shortly after the Minecraft movie, where ghasts were shown behaving in a very similar way, or the recent overhaul of baby mob models that might have seemed even more out of the blue until you notice that the baby nautilus and ghast already had unique models compared to other baby mobs, which
Oh, wait, so he's gonna figure out what the next updates are. He's gonna like take guesses.
He pushed Mojang to update them all. And more broadly, it's not that difficult to start predicting future updates either. For example, it's almost a certainty that some form of an end update is currently in the works. What that ends up looking like, or when it happens, is anyone's best guess. But over the years, Mojang and its developers have hinted at plenty of features they'd eventually like to add to the game. Unfortunately, a lot of those ideas have yet to be featured. So in this video, I'm going to go through some of these hinted features, however vague they may be, and explore how they could realistically be implemented into the game.
By the way, if you guys don't know this guy is like the greatest at making mods. He makes them look so good. Like these new features he's gonna showcase, he creates a whole mod for it, just to be able to show us in the video. I feel like he's so good at that. He makes it look so vanilla, exactly like how Minecraft would make it look.
More recent examples of this came in 2025, when a Minecraft developer hinted that they'd like to work on a potential update for Minecarts, and possibly even the end. While an end update could easily be a video of its own, let's focus on Minecarts for now. It's safe to say that minecarts have a huge amount of unrealized potential. For something that's meant to be a core form of transportation, they've barely received any meaningful attention over the years and have slowly been overshadowed by faster, more convenient alternatives. So let's take a step back and rework the minecart in a more comprehensive way. And what better place to start than its appearance, which for the most part has remained unchanged for nearly its entire lifespan. First, give it a proper foundation. A set of 4 visible wheels that sit cleanly on the rails and actually spin as the minecart moves. On top of that, add a solid chassis that everything else can be built around. From there, add the sides of the minecart. Finally, add a connector hook which will allow the minecart to be modified later on. With that, you end up with a brand new minecart model that mostly keeps
Do you guys like that or not?
its original tech.
I don't know. I honestly, what's the reason to do that? Why not just keep it how it is? I don't know, actually. I mean, Minecarts have been in the game for like over a decade, so I just can't ever imagine anything. I can't imagine it changing.
Texture and
But I mean, it looks better in my opinion.
Overall feel of the vanilla minecart, while adding just enough detail to match modern Minecraft's visual style. Yet appearance is the least of the minecart's problems. Despite requiring extensive setup, minecarts are painfully slow. Unless they offer something no other form of transportation does, they will continue to feel largely obsolete. At the moment, they're barely faster than sprint jumping, which ironically makes them one of the worst transport options in the game. Given that Minecraft's terminal velocity sits at 78.4 blocks per second, a reasonable baseline would be to place minecart speed somewhere between sprint jumping and that upper limit, around 40 blocks per second. To give players proper control, entering a minecart will replace the XP bar with an acceleration meter. This allows you to set a target
I'm pretty sure he's like mentioned this idea before.
Speed and maintain it automatically, without constant input. Chaining minecarts together has long been one of the community's most requested features, and this update finally enables it. Each minecart now includes a coupler design specifically for linking carts together. By simply placing 2 minecarts next to one another, multiple minecarts can be connected, and shears can be used to break the link. This immediately gives minecarts the clear purpose of transporting large quantities of items, and doing so quickly. The railing also needs a touch-up. Currently, minecarts lose all momentum the second they leave the tracks, which is quite unsatisfying. Instead, they should retain their momentum, allowing them to jump small gaps and transition between tracks. Another major issue is cost and setup. Building long rail networks is both tedious and expensive, largely due to the reliance on powered rails. To address this, a furnace minecart can now be coupled to a standard minecart, providing sustained acceleration
that's
up to 60.
That's very good. I think people would want that because getting gold and redstone to make these these golden rails is just so expensive.
Blocks per second. The furnace minecart also gains a proper UI, making fuel management better. Acceleration still takes time, but power rails can be used to instantly reach maximum speed when needed. To automate speed control without player input, a new copper rail is introduced. The copper rail converts incoming redstone signals directly into minecart speed, with a signal strength of 15 producing the maximum speed of 60 blocks per second, decreasing by 4 blocks for each lower signal level. Minecarts can also be used to ram into mobs, which will knock them off the track, at the cost of reduced momentum. To complete
I like that too, bro. The amount of times that my minecarts have been stopped because people are just standing in the way it's happened so many times. It's so annoying.
Rail system, a cross-section rail is added, allowing for smoother intersections. As a final
wait a second. This is actually really good. I mean, I think there's zero reason why Mojang should not add this. This is all good stuff. I think nobody would be disappointed. And yeah, he's right. Minecarts are kind of useless. This would make people actually start using them again.
Touch, a dispenser minecart completes the lineup, activating automatically when passing over an activator rail. With that, the minecart system is finally complete and actually worth using.
Okay, I don't know about that. That looked a little weird. The way it was bending like that. Should it look like that?
Activator rail. With that, the minecart system is finally complete and
stop effing pausing L donut. Pause 1 quintillion. Please stop talking. Okay.
Actually worth using. I love the minecart, and it's a tragedy to see them in the state they currently are, and an update like this could revolutionize transport in Minecraft. And speaking of Minecraft evolving into something much bigger than it originally was, this video is sponsored by Minecraft, which is about—
What? You got sponsored by Minecraft? I didn't even know Minecraft paid people to promote their videos. Yeah, Minecraft is a very good server, but I'm gonna skip it because I don't feel like watching it.
Now let's continue with features that were announced in 2024, starting with the rework of the dragon egg.
Rework of the dragon egg. I love how the dragon egg works. Maybe not how you collect it. That's a little bit weird where you have to like make it drop down onto like a torch or something. But just the fact that there's only one, I love that.
Egg has gone almost its entire lifespan without any meaningful visual updates, and while it's technically a unique block, its current appearance doesn't really reflect what it represents. As the ultimate endgame trophy, it comes across as slightly odd and underwhelming. A visual rework could easily fix that. One obvious source of inspiration is the existing sniffer egg. Bringing the dragon egg closer in line with its design would help create consistency while still allowing it to stand out. Giving it subtle pulsating lights would better convey it.
Do you guys like that? I think I mean it matches Minecraft more for sure. The dragon egg old shape or the current shape of the dragon egg is really weird. I don't know. I don't think these like bright purple things should be on the egg. I feel like the whole thing should be more like one color. More of one color.
Its importance and naturally fit within Minecraft's mod.
Yeah, like that pulsation doesn't look that vanilla to me.
They're an aesthetic. Of course, the dragon egg is primarily a trophy, and it should remain one, especially given that there's only one obtainable per world. Still, that doesn't mean we can't experiment with it.
Imagine you could craft something or make a trim with it, but then you would waste it.
Recent trend of updating baby mob models, it's hard not to imagine how fitting it would be to hatch a baby ender dragon from the egg. Raising it over time and eventually using it as a flying mount would be incredibly cute. That said—
oh my gosh, bro! I remember when the Happy Ghast update was getting teased, people thought that we were gonna have like rideable dragons instead of the Happy Ghast, but it ended up being a Happy Ghast. I don't know. I feel like this would be crazy. I think it would be cool though. I feel like this wouldn't not fit in the game.
Something like a rideable—
he's kind of pushing it with this one. You think so? I mean, imagine you're just playing single player Minecraft and then or multiplayer with like your friend, and then he has a baby ender dragon. I feel like that's pretty normal. But how would you get multiple eggs? We just have to beat the dragon multiple times. I don't know.
Baby dragon is admittedly unlikely to ever make it into the game. Continuing with some announcements from 2023, starting with a small but very welcome change involving potions. Minecraft has already moved toward giving items with similar functions distinct textures even when they only differ by color, things like dyes or spawn eggs, largely to make the game more accessible for players with color blindness. Potions, however, are arguably even a bigger issue. Keeping track of them is already difficult, and that problem only gets worse if you're colorblind. In the past, King B Dogs has mentioned on Twitter that potions are something Mojang plans to revisit eventually, so it's safe to say that this is less a question of if and more a question of when. Unique potion textures would be a genuinely
yes. I think this is a great change. Yes. Who agrees?
Quality of life improvement.
Like, look at, you could tell instantly which one what all of these are. Like, this first one is night vision. The second one. Okay, this third one. Well, the fourth, you could tell that this one over here is speed, and this one below that is like regeneration hearts, and like this one's like damage hearts.
Very welcome change overall. Another feature
most unnecessary change of all time. What? Are you serious, bro? I feel like that was so good.
2023 is tied to the desert. A Minecraft developer once posted an image on Twitter showing a table made out of camels, and while the image itself seemed harmless, players quickly noticed something unusual in the background: sand layers. That small detail immediately sparked speculation. The developer later clarified that it was an accident, but it is still an interesting idea to explore. We already have snow layers which can spawn naturally or build up over time during snowfall. Applying a similar system to deserts.
Oh my god, I don't know. This is more what real life deserts look like, for sure. But I would hate to have to collect like sand balls or whatever. Like there's like, you know, like, do you guys like that or no? I think if it was in the game, they'd only add it if it was actually good, so I probably would end up liking it. But I don't know. I feel like they would not add it because it looks like too complicated to like collect the blocks.
Would allow sand layers to create smoother transitions between elevations, rather than the sharp steps.
Oh my god, wait, and I love the way that the village houses are like under the sand.
Sand layers to create smoother transitions.
Yeah, look at that. It looks like... Okay, wait. Yeah, they're like halfway buried under the sand. That's so good for like a desert, I feel like an abandoned type of desert. I don't know, for like where the villages are, they shouldn't... I guess the village houses shouldn't be buried. So maybe only abandoned villages would be buried though.
Between elevations, rather than the sharp steps we see now. These sand layers would also accumulate during sandstorms.
Really.
Sandstorms
would be crazy too. I feel like that. Yeah, sandstorms would be super cool if you had to like stay inside during it. But if all it did was push you around, I feel like there'd be no reason to be scared of it, and then it'd be kind of useless to add. But I feel like sandstorms would be super cool.
Desert biomes during thunderstorms. Unlike snow, which covers surfaces evenly, sand would naturally collect around slopes and then climb. During a storm, visibility would be heavily reduced, and player movement would be affected. Moving against the wind would slow you down, while moving with it would give you a slight speed boost. While sand layers themselves might look a little strange at first, sandstorms as a mechanic feel like a very natural fit for the desert, and could add a lot of atmosphere to the biome. Following sand layers, the next feature that was discussed involves cakes. Back in 2022, a developer shared a concept for stacked cakes. While the idea itself is appealing, the way it was originally presented probably isn't the cleanest way to implement it. Before stacking cakes at all, it would make more sense to first expand the variety of cakes.
The thing is, cakes are so useless. Like, they're maybe cool to have as decoration, or just like if you're bored, you make a cake, but why would anyone want to make a cake? I don't know. I mean, maybe hopefully he'll explain it.
Using different ingredients, players could bake alternative cake variants. Cookies, sweet berries, cocoa for chocolate cake, honey for pancakes, beetroot, or even glowberries. With a proper selection of cake types in place, cakes could then be stacked up to 3 layers high in any combination.
That's better.
By simply right-clicking one cake onto another. You could still place a candle on top, and when eaten...
Cake has a case for being the most useless item in the game. Bro, yeah, I really do think they're so useless, and they're so hard to make too.
Cake would be consumed from the top layer down. Overall, a stacking system like this would be a genuinely welcome quality of life change that adds a ton of variety. Check out Sans Cakes for these awesome cake designs. The next feature is...
That's it. No, they don't do anything. Yeah, out of all his ideas in this video so far, I would say that one's the worst one. Was it bad? No. But I wouldn't be hyped if that was added. I don't I would think it's kind of cool, but I would just think, nah, I don't care about it.
Actually, the first mob on the list, which might come as a surprise since it's an interesting one, the sloth.
Oh my gosh, a sloth.
Back in 2022, during a livestream, game director Agnes mentioned that she'd like to see sloths added to Minecraft. While nothing was confirmed, it's definitely a mob that could realistically make its way into the game at some point. Sloths would spawn in jungles and are fittingly incredibly slow. In fact, they're the slowest mammals in the world. They spend most of their lives in trees and only occasionally come down to the ground, where they are largely defenseless. With their long claws and extra neck vertebrae, sloths can turn their heads nearly all the way around, and because of their slow movement, algae naturally grows on their fur. In-game, you'd see sloths climbing trees, moving across them, and feeding on
I was about to
leaves.
say, like, what's the point of adding a sloth, though? But there doesn't need to be a point for everything. Like, what's the point of a panda? Does a panda do anything important at all? I think they would just be cool to have. I like that idea.
Sticks and fruit, allowing them to stay almost completely in trees. Even on atmosphere alone, they'd already be a great fit, but they could offer more than just being cute. If you feed the sloth one of its favorite snacks, like apples, you could tame it. Once tamed,
taming it, that's different. If you could tame it, that's pretty fire.
Clicking the sloth would cause it to cling to your back. While riding on you, it would grant access to a small 9-slot inventory.
Oh, that would be kind of crazy, but I don't think that's vanilla enough. I feel like that doesn't fit. That would be so cool. Everyone would have sloths, bro. Everyone. Wait, imagine in like PvP fights, you need more totems. You just have a sloth on your back. But if you get crystal, it instantly dies. Oh, maybe we need sloth armor or something.
Dense fur, already home to moss and parasites, essentially acts as a natural pouch for storing items. And that's not all. While the sloth is on your back, harvesting crops would trigger the sloth to automatically replant whatever item you're holding, consuming one crop as a cost. Since
I don't think this would ever be added to the game. Maybe a sloth, but all these features seems like too much.
Has been a long requested feature. This would be a very Minecraft style way of implementing it without overcomplicating it. Over time, the sloth's fur would gradually turn greener. At that point, you could shear it to groom its coat, occasionally obtaining moss or other small items caught in its fur. Overall, sloths alone would add a huge amount of atmosphere to jungles, but even with just a fraction of these mechanics, they could become a genuinely useful companion that would fit right into the game. And the sloth isn't the only mob that has been hinted at. Next up is the snail. Back in 2020.
No, they hinted at a snail? What is a snail gonna do? Wait, hold on. What if you could have a terrarium in Minecraft? I think that would be super cool, where you could collect snails and little bugs, like butterflies. Wait, are butterflies in Minecraft? No, right? I'm thinking of Terraria, bro. I think a terrarium would be super cool, though. You could collect snails and all that, but I don't know if Minecraft would want to do that because they have to be ethical with everything they do. If they just make it common, so like if they make what's it called? If they make like collecting every single bug and putting it in one terrarium common, then they're gonna think that's like people or players. They're gonna think that players are gonna think that they should do that in real life too.
Minecraft developers shared how they'd imagine snails working in the game. So let's build upon that idea. Snails would spawn in humid biomes during rainy nights and retreat into their shells during the day. They move extremely slow.
I mean, we already have nautiluses, so maybe fantasy bugs. Wait, is a nautilus not a thing in real life?
Making them the second slowest mob featured in this video. As they move, snails leave behind a temporary slime trail that slowly fades away. They'd also be the only mob capable of climbing vertical surfaces besides spiders. However, they're still affected by gravity. Break the block they're attached to and they will fall. Snails naturally gravitate toward nearby water sources, which even opens the door for things like simple snail races. You can interact with their slime trails by right-clicking them with a glass bottle to collect slime in the bottle. Combining 3 of these lets you craft a slime carpet, which can be placed on floors.
Slime carpet? Oh, we need a carpet for everything in the game now, don't we?
Or even ceilings. Standing on it allows players to cling to the surface, letting them climb walls or even ceilings. Alternatively, the slime can be brewed into a potion of sticking, granting the same wall climbing and ceiling walking abilities without needing slime carpets. It's a small mob, but one that introduces some genuinely interesting movement mechanics. Now let's move on to 2021, starting with ice caves. While caves have received a massive overhaul in recent years, introducing a wide variety of underground biomes, one thing they still lack is strong ties to the surface biome above them. Whether you're mining beneath a cold or hot biome, caves largely generate the same way. Adding biome-dependent cave variants would go a long way toward addressing that.
I think this is a great idea. Are ice caves even real in real life? If they are, I think this is a great idea.
Cave, for example, could generate exclusively beneath cold biomes. These caves would be coated in ice that become denser the deeper you go, with hanging icicles acting as a cold variant of dripstone. Ice crystals similar in shape to amethyst clusters could add to the overall atmosphere of the biome. What's interesting is that mechanically, this wouldn't need to reinvent caves.
His channel is Nakoma.
Core, an ice cave would function very similarly to a dripstone cave, but with different materials materials, and an overall atmosphere. And honestly, it's kind of wild how much impact a well thought out recolor can have. The same approach could easily apply to deserts as well, with sandstone covered caves that feel eroded rather than lush or frozen. Simple changes like these would give caves more personality and serve as a simple yet effective cave overhaul. The next feature is surprisingly also cave related.
I think the ores though, like, do not look good. Like, look at that. What is that? A sand iron? And then I think he showed
could easily apply to deserts as well. Impact.
Yeah, look at this. What is this? Like ice copper? Maybe it's not bad. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Like, what's the problem with having multiple different types of ores? We already have stone and deep slate ores. Why not have an ice and a sand one too? I think that's a solid idea. I think that's actually really solid.
The next feature is surprisingly also cave related. Glowworms.
Glowworms? No way Mojang hinted at this.
A community member once suggested glowworms on Twitter, pointing out how fitting they'd be for Minecraft caves, and the developer even agreed with the idea. So imagine glowworms generating around underground water pools, hanging from the cave ceiling, along the edges of the lake, and softly illuminating the area with a vibrant blue color. They wouldn't need to function as full mobs either. Instead, glowworms could work more like a decorative block.
The thing is, this guy needs to show what it looks like without shaders.
Similar in spirit to sea pickles or glowberries, making them easy to use for decoration. It's a small detail, but one that would add a lot of atmosphere to caves without introducing unnecessary complexity. They would also perfectly complement.
Maybe he doesn't, because vibrant shader or vibrant visuals and shaders are gonna be used by everyone soon.
Glow squids, making for quite the fitting addition. The next feature is worth discussing, and it has to do with the blaze. Back in 2020, during an Ask Mojang video, Jeb was asked whether a special blaze variant, like a Soulfire blaze, could be added to the game. He responded by saying that Mojang generally avoids adding direct variants to existing mobs, but also mentioned that a Soulfire themed mob would still be interesting. And while they haven't exactly stayed true to the first statement over the years, I think a Soul Blaze is still very much worth exploring. Soul Blazes would spawn in Soul Sand valleys and be surrounded by soul particles. Unlike regular blazes, they would fire Soulfire projectiles, setting the player ablaze with Soulfire instead of normal fire. Rather than shooting multiple small fireballs, they'd launch a single, larger projectile with a heavier impact. Movement-wise, the Soul Blaze would behave more erratic, flying around much faster than the normal blaze, but only along one axis at a time, giving its movement a more unpredictable feel. I think this would be a cool.
That would be very hard for people to start killing these things. I think it's, I don't think it's terrible though. Like, also, this is another idea from one of his other videos. See how there's like different nether fortresses? This is like a different type of nether fortress. I think that's a good idea too.
Concept.
I don't like how all nether fortresses are so boring and exploring them feels useless. I think it's so cool to be able to explore like completely different types of fortresses. I feel like that'd be awesome.
For a Soulfire based mob, if it was to get a bit more polished out. The next feature is the addition of a brand new workstation, the Pyrotechnics table. With the introduction of the loom, banner crafting was moved out of the crafting table and into a much more intuitive.
Oh my god! Did y'all see that E? Where is that?
And efficient.
That's Evify's banner on Donut SMP, isn't it? Hey, anyone notice that? Why is nobody like saying anything about Evify? Did y'all not notice that?
UI. Fireworks could benefit from the exact same treatment. A dedicated table for fireworks would make the entire process much simpler and make experimentation far more accessible. Using the Pyrotechnics table, you'd be able to select primary and secondary colors, add gunpowder, pick special effects, and finally define the explosion shape, all through a clear interface. This removes the need to constantly check the wiki just to remember.
Wait. Yes. I haven't been paying attention for the last 30 seconds. This is a great idea. I have no idea how to craft fireworks. I also don't know how to brew potions. I maybe that's sort of like in the game like that for a reason, for you to be able to like discover it yourself, because players don't need to know how to do this type of stuff. So I'm not sure. There's probably a reason they don't make it clear how to craft this type of stuff.
How to craft a specific firework. Overall, it would make fireworks far more inviting to players who currently avoid them due to how complicated the crafting process can be.
I don't know how to do it.
The next feature is a bit more different from the rest and ties directly into the deep dark. The Wild update introduced the ancient city along with a huge set of new blocks, and one of the blocks originally planned for the update was the Skulk Jaw. The idea was pretty simple. Stepping on it would
Wait, this was planned for the update? How does he know?
Change its texture and deal damage to the player. While it was expected to release with the update, it was ultimately scrapped, and while I agreed that the original concept seemed a bit underwhelming, I think a block like this could still earn its place in the game with a few changes. Instead of a simple texture change, the Skulk Jaw would now open up and attack with fangs, functioning more like a bear trap. Visually, it would resemble a Skulk Shrieker, allowing it to blend seamlessly into ancient cities, making it that much more dangerous. Its main purpose would be to hinder players trying to escape the warden. Once triggered, the fangs would clamp onto the player, dealing damage and immobilizing them to break
I don't even know. I feel like there's no way for me to know if this is a good addition or not.
free. You'd either have to mine the block or repeatedly jump to escape, both of which are a hazard when you're trying to escape a warden. With Silk Touch, the Skulk Jaw could be collected and reused as a trap, allowing players to place it themselves to trap mobs. It could also have a way to disable. Loud sounds like a goat horn could
imagine you like, oh, I like that goat horns, disable it. Because like it's too loud or something. I like that. That's I don't know how he thinks of that. But that's cool. Imagine you just put these all around your world and you just find a bunch of mobs trapped in them. I think that's super cool.
Early disable it by forcing the jaw open. So I believe a block like this could have an overall positive impact on the
David,
game.
At the membership,
next
thank you,
feature
bro.
focuses on the barrel.
Okay,
when barrels were first added to Bedrock Edition, there was an unused texture called the fish barrel that never actually made it into the game, which is a real shame. So the idea here is simple. Using 9 of any fish, you could craft a barrel filled with that specific fish. Cod, salmon, tropical fish, or even puffer fish. These barrels could then be broken back down into individual fish, effectively acting as a way to compact food while also serving as a great decorative.
What? Okay, so you just craft 9 fish together and it gives you a barrel of fish, and you could like stack barrels of fish together. That kind of is a cool way, like to have more food in your inventory at once without taking up too many slots. But I mean, you have to place it down every time, or maybe you can just you probably could just craft it and eat it. I don't know. I don't like that too much.
Block for things like markets or storage rooms. This idea could even extend to other food items such as apples, potatoes, or carrots. However, while that would be intuitive and straightforward, I think there's a cleaner way to implement this. Instead of crafting a special barrel for each item, you could fill a regular barrel entirely with a single item. Once full, the barrel's appearance would change to visually represent what's inside. This avoids stepping on the one unique advantage watermelons currently have, being compactable, because if every food item gained that ability, watermelons would become even more useless than they already are. So
I don't think... Is there anyone that eats or has watermelon in their inventory because it's compactable? I don't think there's anyone that does that.
What do you think? Should this work for crafting dedicated barrels, or by visually changing a barrel?
I feel like both of these ideas are just not that clean. Like they're kind of weird. Like why doesn't it work when you fill it up with a bunch of stone? Why don't you get a stone barrel? Kind of mid.
Once it's filled, let me know in the comments.
But he probably had to come up with something because of that fish barrel texture.
The final and possibly oldest feature mentioned in this video has to do with doors. All the way back in 2010, Notch mentioned that thanks to tile entities, doors could now properly animate as they swing open. While this idea has been recreated countless times in mods, it has never actually made its way into the base.
What do you guys think about this one? I mean, look at this bell right here to the left. I mean, when you flick the bell, it sort of animates a little bit. What else animates? Trap doors are the same as doors. I think that's... I don't know. To me, doors have always snapped open, so I think it'd be a super weird change. I don't know if it's Minecrafty to do this though. What other things have animations like that?
Game, and it wouldn't have to stop at doors either. Trapdoors, fence gates, and even blocks like the chiseled bookshelf could benefit from proper animations. These changes aren't strictly necessary, but they'd go a long way to improve them.
Worse and worse ideas as the video goes on challenge, or what? Yeah, he probably didn't put his best ideas at the front.
The game.
I love that
these
Minecart
were some
idea.
of the best features that might
video,
one day
bro.
find themselves in the game.
Nakoma,
let me know in the comments which one
he always makes fire videos. I'm gonna send you guys his channel link. Shout out to Nakoma, bro.